LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day.
While you may know Caitlin Clark as a dominant power on the basketball court, commanding the WNBA and gaining acclaim with her record-setting displays, what if I were to say she's now creating a stir in an entirely different arena? Yes, that's correct. Caitlin Clark has taken to the golf course, and her actions there are completely astonishing. Her recent showing at the Annika Pro-Am tournament has left followers, critics, and even veteran golf professionals totally stunned. Picture it, a WNBA superstar, not merely trying out golf, but demonstrating skills that could rival top amateurs, all while projecting a confidence that says, I can excel at any sport. The buzz surrounding her is understandably at a fever pitch, but this extends beyond her surprising aptitude. It's about how she's reshaping the definition of a multi-sport competitor. So let's get into the detail. The tale begins at Florida's Pelican Golf Club, where Caitlin took part in the esteemed Pro-Am event, hosted by the legendary Annika Sorenstam. Teamed up with world number 1 Nelly Korda, Caitlin did more than just play. She was enthralling.
I think from the standpoint of understanding the impact that she's had not only on golf, but women's sports in general. Played in a men's tournament. It's pretty incredible. Just like one of those trailblazers and, challenges herself every single day, but also just like the joy that she exudes. And
huge crowds descended on the event, making it resemble the final round of a major championship instead of a relaxed Pro-Am. By 7 a.m., the atmosphere was electric, with spectators lining up for a chance to see her, and the events that unfolded were truly remarkable. From her very first drive, it was obvious Caitlin was there to compete seriously. Of course, she isn't a professional golfer, but her charismatic presence on the course was undeniable. The initial holes showed a player who, though not flawless, had a firm understanding of the sport. Her approach shots landed delicately on the greens, and her putting was remarkably precise. But to be fair, there were also moments of disarray. Early on, Caitlin hooked a drive that came dangerously close to striking a spectator before splashing into a water hazard. For a moment, the tension was palpable. Could the pressure of playing before such a large audience be affecting her? This is the thing about Caitlin Clark, she excels under pressure. Rather than letting the incident disrupt her game, she rebounded with a stunning iron shot that placed her ball mere inches from the pin on the subsequent hole. This is the exact resilience one would anticipate from a person accustomed to sinking clutch shots in critical basketball games. The fascinating part of Caitlin's golf is her adaptability. It's clear she tackles golf with the same philosophy she applies to basketball: precision, strategic thinking, and a resolute competitive drive. On one hole, she drained a long 20-foot putt and the audience erupted. The professionals playing with her were visibly impressed. Annika Sorenstam herself remarked on Caitlin's innate athletic ability, stating, "She has the champion's mindset." It isn't surprising she can thrive in more than one sport. However, not everyone was pleased about Caitlin capturing the limelight. Purists in the golf world wondered if her involvement was a distraction from the actual competition. Some contended that her presence cast a shadow over professional golfers who've dedicated their lives to the game. It is a reasonable point, but there's a counterpoint. Caitlin's involvement drew an unparalleled amount of attention to the tournament.
In a previous video, how this Pro-Am event originally wasn't even going to be televised, but there were so many fans who were emailing the organization saying, how can we watch Caitlin? Can we come to the event? Can you live stream it? All of these things. And it ended up being put on television, and that was great. Fans were really excited about that. There was so much buzz online. She was trending on Twitter, all of the things. And the LPGA was promoting the crap out of this event. And they also did something really smart by pairing her up with their currently #1 golfer in the world.
Golf Channel even altered its schedule to feature her rounds, beginning its broadcast 90 minutes ahead of schedule. The surge in viewership, including many who might not otherwise watch a golf event, was clear evidence of Caitlin's star power. Then you have the effect she had on the spectators. For most in attendance, it wasn't simply about the golf. It was about being part of a cultural phenomenon. Caitlin Clark, a basketball phenom, was demonstrating that her skills and sway could cross over into other sports. Spectators trailed her from one hole to the next, fostering an environment more akin to a basketball playoff game than a serene day on the links. She autographed items, posed for pictures, and took time to explain how her passion for golf started. "My dad introduced me to golf as a kid," she shared, her expression brightening the crowd. "It's been something I've always loved, but I never imagined I'd play with legends like Nelly and Annika." And regarding legends, Caitlin's grouping with Nelly Korda and Annika Sorenstam was a narrative of its own. These are women at the zenith of their sport, and they were sharing a course with a basketball athlete. The standout element wasn't the difference, but the rapport. Nelly, famed for her composed nature and sharp focus, was clearly impressed with Caitlin's capacity to handle the high-stakes setting. "She's a born competitor," Nelly noted. "You see it in her approach to every single shot. It's not about perfection, it's about determination." And then Annika joined Caitlin for the latter half of the round. Observing them together was like a masterclass in sportsmanship. Annika, always the mentor, provided guidance and support, which Caitlin absorbed eagerly. The peak of their collaboration was on the 12th hole, where Caitlin sank a difficult putt by following Annika's advice for reading the green. It was a minor event, but one that embodied the day's essence: learning, developing, and pushing past limit. By her round's end, Caitlin had not only earned her peers' respect, but had also sparked a new dialogue on the crossover potential among athletes. Is Caitlin Clark setting a precedent for more multi-sport superstars? That is a question to consider. Her showing at the Annika was more than a single appearance. It was a declaration. Caitlin proved that skill, dedication, and the courage to leave one's comfort zone can yield amazing results. But let's keep things in perspective. Caitlin is primarily a basketball player, and she has stated that her passion remains with the WNBA. Yet her venture into golf has created fresh opportunities, and her fans are already guessing her next step. Will she keep playing in Pro-Am events? Might she enter amateur tournament? The possibilities are boundless, and knowing Caitlin, she is likely already eyeing her subsequent challenge. Caitlin Clark's golf debut at the Annika Pro-Am has set off a firestorm of discussion, debate, and speculation. From her abilities on the course to the wide-ranging effects of her crossover appeal, there is much more to analyze. In this deeper look, we will explore the wider implications of her play, the difficulties of pursuing two sports, and the overall effect she is having on women's athletics. Let's proceed on this journey to understand what Caitlin's golf experience signifies for the sports world. Caitlin's participation at the Annika signaled more than a passing spectacle. It represented a cultural shift. For many years, women's sports have fought for attention and respect, frequently being eclipsed by their male counterparts. But Caitlin's star quality is altering that script. Her capacity to attract huge crowds and media focus to a golf tournament, a sport where she is essentially a newcomer, is a powerful testament to her influence. It also highlights the huge untapped potential of women's sports when provided with a suitable stage. One of the most remarkable things about Caitlin's showing was her capacity to compete well in a notoriously tough sport. Golf is not only about strength or accuracy, it is a mental contest that demands concentration, patience, and adaptability. For Caitlin, used to the high-speed nature of basketball, the slower, more methodical pace of golf was a distinct challenge. Yet she adjusted without a hitch. Her play while she was with Annika Sorenstam was especially revealing. Annika, a 10-time major winner, is an icon in the sport. Sharing a course with her would be daunting for any player, especially a basketball star trying golf. But Caitlin faced the situation with her signature self-assurance. When Annika gave her pointers on reading the greens and adjusting her stance, Caitlin listened closely, taking in all the advice like a seasoned professional. By the round's conclusion, Annika was praising Caitlin's poise and natural athletic gift. This brings up a compelling question. Could Caitlin's basketball experience actually provide an advantage in golf? Initially, the two sports seem completely different. Basketball relies on speed, agility, and explosive power, whereas golf demands precision, control, and a very steady hand. If you look closer, however, the similarities emerge. Both sports require a sharp sense of spatial awareness, the skill to execute under pressure, and a steadfast focus on the objective. Caitlin's triumphs on the basketball court have certainly given her these abilities, which are surprisingly applicable to the golf course. Still, succeeding in two sports is not just about having transferable abilities, it requires time and intense dedication. Golf, much like basketball, demands endless hours of practice for mastery. For Caitlin, who is already managing the rigors of a WNBA career, finding the time for serious golf pursuit would be a massive undertaking. Yet if anyone possesses the ambition and resolve to do it, it is Caitlin Clark. Her skill in balancing basketball and golf points to a broader movement in modern sports, the emergence of the multi-sport athlete. Traditionally, athletes were urged to specialize in one sport early, based on the theory that singular focus is the path to greatness. But Caitlin is upending that belief, showing it's feasible to thrive in multiple domains. Her journey is motivating a new generation of athletes to welcome versatility and realize their complete potential. Naturally, not everyone supports Caitlin's multi-sport endeavor. Some critics suggest that her golf activities are a distraction from her basketball career, in which she is already a generational talent. They fear that dividing her attention might negatively affect her performance on the court. These concerns are not completely without merit. History has many examples of athletes who attempted to manage multiple sports, only to see their performance decline. But Caitlin appears undeterred by the doubter. In public statements, she's stressed that basketball is her main priority and her golf outings are just a way to challenge herself and enjoy her off-season. "I love basketball above all else," she stated post-tournament. "Golf is something I find enjoyable, but it isn't my primary focus. That said, I'm always seeking ways to improve and challenge myself, and golf provides a unique kind of test." What makes Caitlin's narrative so compelling is how it's altering the dialogue about women's sports. For a long time, female athletes have struggled for recognition and respect. Even in sports like tennis or gymnastics, where women have gained considerable fame, a gap often exists in media coverage, endorsement deals, and general support versus men's sports. Caitlin's crossover appeal is helping to close that divide. Her presence at the Annika introduced a fresh audience to women's golf, with many likely watching her play for the very first time. The LPGA, which has often found it hard to gain mainstream notice, reaped huge benefits from Caitlin's involvement. The excitement around the tournament wasn't solely about her, it was about the potential she signals for women's sports overall. This is not the first instance of Caitlin using her influence to boost women's athletics. Her effect on the WNBA has been utterly transformative. As a rookie, she broke viewership records, attracting millions of new fans to her games and demonstrating a vast market for women's basketball when it is promoted and showcased well. Her capacity to move beyond her sport and seize the public's interest is a special talent, one with the power to reshape the entire landscape of women's sports. But with immense power comes immense responsibility. Caitlin's expanding influence means she will face greater scrutiny, both on the court and off. Juggling her basketball duties with her budding golf activities will demand meticulous planning and discipline. There is also the matter of managing her public persona. As a role model for aspiring athletes, Caitlin is constantly expected to be a positive influence. Thus far, she has managed the spotlight with poise and humility. Despite her fame, she stays grounded, frequently giving credit to her family and coaches for her focus. Her interest in golf, for instance, comes from how her family introduced her to the sport when she was young. "Golf has always been a way for me to connect with my dad," she mentioned. "It's a thing we've shared for many years, and I cherish the memories we've made on the course." This personal link to the sport gives another dimension of genuineness to Caitlin's golf pursuits. She is not chasing golf for celebrity or awards. She is doing it because she has a true love for the game. That passion was clear at the Annika, where her play, a blend of focus and delight, connected with both fans and fellow players. As we peer into the future, Caitlin's possibilities are limitless. Could she one day play an amateur golf event? Might she leverage her platform to push for increased funding for women's sports? The answers are not yet known, but one thing is certain: Caitlin Clark is a pioneer, and her story is far from complete. Her influence goes beyond athletics, touching upon wider cultural issues like gender equality, representation, and the strength of perseverance. By succeeding in two very different sports, Caitlin is dismantling stereotypes and showing that women can be as versatile and dynamic as their male peers. She is establishing a new benchmark for what is achievable, not only for female athletes, but for every athlete. In the final analysis, Caitlin Clark's golf debut is not simply a tale of one athlete trying something different. It is a tale about shattering barriers, defying expectations, and motivating others to aim higher. Whether she is sinking a long-range shot or lining up a putt, Caitlin confronts every challenge with the same fierce drive and steadfast confidence in her own capability, and that is what makes her truly remarkable. What are your thoughts? Could Caitlin Clark become a dual sport sensation, or should she concentrate exclusively on basketball? Share your opinion in the comments below. And if Caitlin's journey has inspired you as much as it has us, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and enable notifications so you won't miss any new updates. Caitlin's story is just getting started, and we're eager to see where it leads her.